talked about the importance of defining racism, but unless I missed it, which is possible, I didn't hear your personal definition. Is there one that you would offer us? Like, how do you define racism?
Sure. So racism, I would define it as a collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas. Sure. A collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas. And anti-racism is pretty simple, using the same terms. Anti-racism is a collection of anti-racist policies leading to racial, anybody want to take a guess? Equity that are substantiated by anti-racist ideas.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today, and welcome to Inconvenient Truths about anti-racism. As you guys know, Ibram X. Kennedy is the poster boy for anti-racism, right? And as you saw from the intro, no one actually understands what anti-racism is. So I'm gonna take a page out of their book. I'm looking at NEA Today, and teaching with an anti-racist lens, right? And they have three key takeaways for what anti-racism is, because a lot of these teachers, right, these liberal teachers, they like to defend anti-racism as a means of, to cure present discrimination, we must, to cure past discrimination, we require current discrimination. And this is the kind of double speaking grift that anti-racism is in reality. Right? You usually, like my last video I did on Florida Democrats taking democracy away from their voters. We must protect democracy by taking away democracy. They talk, like liberals like to talk in this contradictory way, and anti-racism is racism, period. Because the main tenets of it assumes that white people are the only racist in America. They don't think black people can be racist. They don't think Asian people can be racist. They don't think Hispanic people can be racist. They only think only one group of people can be racist. Isn't that not racist? For many educators, teaching through an anti-racist lens means helping students understand racism's origins and guises, past and present, so they can act to disrupt white supremacy. What they should have said is to disrupt racial supremacy. The fact that they use a one racial group as the enemy, isn't that itself racist? This is the kind of thing they want to try to push on our kids, right? Despite a push by certain parent groups, aka me, and lawmakers to prevent educators from teaching about systematic racism and sexism, educators are committed to teach the truth. What kind of truth are you trying to teach? Are you trying to teach the truth that America is less racist than it's ever been in history? Like, the 1% of black people live in America. This is the best place to be black, in America, right? You worrying about white supremacy, but all the nations that blacks are prospering the most at is white majority countries. But you worried about white supremacy. In 2023, racism is at its least in the entire American history. But you're teaching kids today to worry about racism. I don't understand the need to teach this to our kids, right? Practically speaking, teaching through an anti-racist lens, aka view everything through race, because that's essentially what they're trying to teach you. They're essentially teaching you to be racist. If a black person do something, it's bad. If a white person do something, it's good. Is that not racism? Yes. Okay. So if white person do something and black person do something, we shouldn't punish the black person because, black people get in trouble enough. Right? Let's look at this news clip. This news clip I found somewhere online, right? Where they're discouraged from disproportional outcomes. And at the end of the day, disproportional outcomes does not prove racism. All it proves is that a certain group of people tend to do a certain behavior more than others. Let's take a look.
As there is new data highlighting racial equity gaps when it comes to discipline. Queen 6 continuing our coverage of growing behavioral problems, and we sent our Joelle Jones to listen in on tonight's meeting. She's live tonight after hearing from students, staff, and parents about all this. Joelle?
That's right, Liz. And there was a lot covered in this meeting, but perhaps what was most interesting was that data showing students of color are disproportionately disciplined when compared to their white counterparts. Now, we've covered on this station incidents of another race-based attack on a Portland public school campus, but the students inside this meeting say they're hearing hate speech nearly on a daily basis.
Because it happens every day.
How many times does it have to happen for something to change?
Students asking for more to be done when responding to incidents of hate speech and bias within Portland public schools. Students, parents, and PBS staff weighed in during the district's Racial Equity and Social Justice Advisory Committee meeting tonight, where experts outlined their approach to help address gaps still seen in student equity.
Here in Portland, our Black students make up about 8% of our student enrollment, and yet they're accounting for over 24% of referrals and exclusionary discipline.
The presentation included updated data on disciplinary action, showing students of color receive higher rates of referrals, suspensions, or other disciplinary actions, with Black students disciplined at a rate of 3.5 times, Native American students 2.5 times, and Latinx students disciplined at a rate of 1.2 times the rate of their white counterparts.
Isn't it crazy that they never focus on the disproportional actions of behaviors that these racial groups do? Who's more likely to disrupt class, a black kid or a white kid? Look at the stats. Black kids are more likely to disrupt class. Who's more likely to get away with bad behavior? A black kid. Because why? Most of them, 70% of kids, are born to single mothers. So they know, oh, my mom's at work, so I can act out. No one's going to come hold me accountable. And then when the teacher's like, oh, I can't deal with this disruptive kid, let me send him out of class, y'all going to say, oh, discrimination. Look at this racial bias. This is not racially equitable. Based on what? You want to punish people who never had anything to do with slavery, racism, and you try to project what people in their race did to people in your race, but you want to piggyback off their struggle. You want to piggyback off their suffering, and you want to get the rewards and accolades of being black, and demonize people merely because of the color of their skin, and where they had they never personally did anything to you. The basic elements of critical race theory is racial essentialism. Race is the most important thing about you. That's what anti-racism focus on. These anti-racist advocates want to focus on your race. That's the most important. That what defines your outcomes. Oh, you got in trouble is because you black. You failed your test is because you're black. That's what anti-racism is about. And when a white person say, hey, look, I didn't say anything racist to you. I just say, hey, you weren't good enough. Hey, you should have studied harder on your math test. And for that, you'll be called a racist because you happen to be white saying this stuff. Right? And all we can do is we can look at the stats. Right? The National Assessment of Education Progress is the nation's report card on what American students attending elementary and secondary school knows. These tests show that African American students on average are alarmingly far behind whites in math, science, reading, and writing. And for the most part, white students on average are not even the best students in class. It's the Asian students. So you falling behind second place, this far behind. For instance, black students at the end of their high school career are almost 4 years behind white students in reading. Right? There's a lot of things that could attribute for that. For instance, one of my biggest arguments about why there's a reading gap between black students and white students is I use my kids as an example. I've been reading to my kid since he was 1 year old. I read him bedtime stories every single night. Me and my wife. We read him all kinds of stories. You want to read dinosaurs? Want to read Boy Who Would Be King? We read everything to this kid, right? His reading comprehension, that's a head start. We already exposing him to reading at an early age. He's already developing those skills. There's stats that show there's a correlation where between parents that read to their kids and parents that don't read to their kids. Let me know. Is this a plausible argument? If you're born to a group that the average kid has a 70% chance of being born to a single mother, do you think that kid's mother have time to pay the bills and at night read to their kids? Maybe, depending on how they fix their schedule. But if the stats have showed me, black kids, like black people, are not that academically involved in their kids' education, on average anyway. And that can explain the gap. But the first thing these anti-racists will say, oh, it's because of racism. The system is discriminating against black folks. A study of 26 to 33-year-old men who held full-time jobs in 1991 thus found that when education was measured by years of school completed, blacks earned 19% less than a comparably educated white. But when word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, arithmetical reasoning, and mathematical knowledge became the yardstick, the results was reversed. Black men earned 9% more than white men with the same education. That is the same performance on basic tests. So this shatters this argument that math is racist. It's no, you just don't have the tools, the academic skills, and skills can be gained, skills can be earned. You just have to work for it. And it seems like the black culture, whatever it is, they don't want to incentivize us to have good behaviors. And anti-racism is a distraction from actually getting people to focus on their behaviors. Anti-racists want you to focus on people's race. Right? Look at this clip from Ibram X. Kendi where he talks about how white people can't seem to look past themselves and see how and get the sense like if you replace every word with white with black, you will say this is a racist mother effer. Let's take a look.
I don't think white people worldwide have really reckoned with how much their own personal identity is shaped by constructions of whiteness, and how much that construction of whiteness prevents white people from connecting to humanity. In other words, recognizing that when you recognize that you are part and parcel of humanity, in other words, you're not over humanity, right? It allows you to really be able to connect to people who don't look like you, who have kinky hair, who have dark skin, and to see yourself in them. And it's whiteness that prevents that, right? And when you're not able to see yourself in other human beings, that creates all sorts of problems.
Look at this guy, right? You just finished hearing this guy. This guy's like, oh, white people, they don't see themselves in other people. They lack, and pretty much just trying to insinuate they lack empathy. And when he talks about whiteness, if you replace everything and you just said blackness, it explains perfectly how culturally anyway, this is the black image anyway, is how black people project themselves to the world. Oh, I don't feel seen because I have no representation on the movie screens, right? Why they have diversity quotas in Hollywood? Because they claim, oh, black people deserve to be seen on the big screen. Isn't that not mirror his argument that he's pushing towards the white people? Whiteness? Oh, because of their whiteness, white people can't see past themselves. I can make the same argument. Look, bro, y'all ain't gonna fool me, bro. Black people do the same damn thing. Oh, remember white man on my neck? What white man on your neck? Oh, it's because that man was racist. That's why he kept giving me a hard time. No, it's not because you were rude. No, it's because this is the third time you've been in his store and you try to get a discount when he said there was no discount and you gave him a hard time for it. No. It's because he was racist. That's why he did. That's why he treated you badly. But when we talk about poverty, right? Black people like to blame poverty for when they have disproportional outcomes when they go to jail because they disproportionately commit more crime than everyone else. Look at the stats. How you only 30% of the population, but you're committing almost 50% of the crimes. How, Sway? How? And then y'all get mad why y'all disproportionately represented in prisons because your behavior dictates that to be. That's why. You want to blame poverty for your own actions when there's more white people in poverty than black people, but they're not disproportionately creating crimes. They're not disproportionately committing crimes. But for me saying that, you're going to say, oh, Kenny, you're being racist. So being anti-racist means do not point out the realities of the behaviors of certain racial groups or the tendencies of certain racial groups. That's what anti-racism is, right? And this idea that white people can't see past themselves. Let's go back to the Civil War. 360,000 majority white people in the Union died to free slaves. Look, 360,000 people died to free slaves, died to free people that didn't share their skin color, right? This idea of anti-racism is rooted in tribal politics, right? And after this next clip, you're going to see this next clip disgusted me. If I ever find my son, right? He's half black, whatever. If I ever find my son making a video like that, best believe he going to see me, because this is unadulterated racism. This next clip is going to encapsulate what I talk against, what I speak out against. All these assumptions, calling people devils because of the color of their skin, they didn't do nothing to you. Never put you in chains, never called you the N-word. But you have such vitriol and such hate because of what you imagine them to be. I don't suffer from imagination. And I think a lot of black people are suffering from imagination. Let's take a look at this next clip.
I call y'all white people for what I see y'all. Y'all are devils. Y'all are parasites. Y'all are mosquitoes. And when you look at a mosquito, you see that mosquitoes latch onto other life forms, drain the blood from that life form to get nutrients so it can power itself.
Now, would Mr. Kendi refer to him as a racist or as an anti-racist? Because he's being racist against white people, and white people frequently are racist because they say they're not racist, which means they are in fact racist. So would he categorize this gentleman to be a racist or a racist anti-racist or an anti-racist racist?
That's exactly what y'all are, because every single thing that y'all do is to drain the life out of everything. And when we look at the advent of y'all devils, since the moment y'all were created, y'all have caused destruction, chaos, and deception.
Since the advent of y'all devils. Please don't tell me this guy teaches sociology at UC Berkeley.
On our earth, when we welcome y'all in to our kingdoms.
When we welcome y'all in to our kingdoms. You mean when African chieftains sold blacks in slavery to European and Arab slavers? You know, most slaves remain in Africa, having been captured in conquest between various warring African tribes. And there was a huge business of selling captured slaves to white European slavers and to Arab slavers. The slave trade could not have existed without the complicity of Africa, because these white Europeans did not have immunities to the various diseases that they would contract by going into the interior of Africa. And also think about how inefficient it is to capture them one at a time. No, they were sold en masse to European and to Arab slavers by African chieftains, and the majority of these slaves remained in Africa.
This is racism. And this is what anti-racism teaches you. When they say we want to teach your kids in the lens of anti-racism, this is what they're talking about. Whiteness is at the center of it all, as I pointed out in the video. Because if you're anti-racist, you should be anti-racial supremacy, but you're not. You're anti-white supremacy. What that means? You're anti-white. That's it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean you're trying to fix racism. You're trying to stop racism against other group of people, except if they're white. You think all white people are the same. You think all white people are alike. And isn't that racism? Right? Here's the most important part. Blood guilt. Individuals are responsible for past and present acts of other people simply because they share the same race. Imagine, and you just saw it from this intro, you just saw it from this video. The man was calling these people, you white devils ever since. Bro, what white people did to you? Oh, they did a lot of things. Okay, that white person did a lot of things to you. But because of that one individual, you want to cascade it all around all white people. Imagine if we reverse it. Imagine, you know, black people statistically, as a racial group, we commit 40% of the crimes, even though we're only 13% of the population. So imagine everyone said, oh, you're guilty by association. Oh, you're a black man, you're a criminal. Black people will be heated about that. Black people will feel some type of way about that. And that's what you're projecting into the world, especially this guy. And then he doesn't want to call out how Africa had the majority of the slaves, the black slaves anyway, how they opened the door. White people couldn't get y'all without any help. Y'all don't want to acknowledge that. Does anti-racism acknowledge that? No, they don't. They just think all white people are the bad guys. White people are the enemies. And this is the inconvenient truth about white anti-racism. It's just racism in disguise. It's racism pretending to be a cure to the problem when all it is fuel. And you wonder why a lot of people don't want to associate with people of a different racial group now. You're perpetuating racism. If we allow these ideas to go unchecked, we're going to bring back segregation. And you already see Democrats and people of the anti-racist ilk, they're already trying to insinuate some of this. Oh, we should have separated classrooms based on race. We need black safe spaces. You already see it. We're regressing as a culture because we're allowing these ideas from Abram X. Kendi, anti-racist activist, to go unchecked. And this is the reality. Hey, I digress, man. Like anti-racism teaches black powerlessness. That's all it is. Oh, because you're of your skin color, you are powerless to change it. You need white people to do everything. Anti-racism try to put this idea that because someone's born white, that they have some type of superpower. I find it laughable. People want to get mad at me because I think that people want to get mad at me because I have the gall to think that no one is above me and no one is below me. That I'm just as capable as anybody else in this world. If an Asian man can have a high credit score, I can have a high credit score. If an Asian man can be good at math, I can be good at math. I don't see race. I don't use race as a reason of, oh, that's an Asian thing. I can't copy that. Oh, that's Asian culture. I can't copy Asian culture. No. Hey, that culture does give a good result. I'm gonna adopt that culture so I can get good results. That's how I think. But anti-racists, they try to make you focus on race. They try to make you focus on the race of somebody. Oh, white people do that? That's not cool. I'm black, man. I'm not gonna copy that. Even if it's a good idea, even if it's a good thing. Oh, hey son, invest your money, and over the long term, you'll become a millionaire. No. I gotta show out. I gotta show my gold chain because that's what black people do. That's what anti-racists want you to focus on. Low probability outcomes, low impact outcomes. And then when you get the bad, the negative consequences of your choices, they want you to be able to blame it on whiteness, on race. It's an evil world we live in. But hey, I digress. Thank you for watching Inconvenient Truths of Anti-Racism. I hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys. And thanks for watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next Inconvenient Truths. Peace.